Good evening, it's Robert Sidell. I welcome you to another edition of the Gateway Show on every Sunday night, 6 to 7 p.m. And the number one talk station in Las Vegas, and also simulcasting on Facebook. And also, you can find it on YouTube. If you ever choose to want to hear it later on, you can get the recording on Facebook in many cases, but you can also go to YouTube, and you'll see the titles and the dates, and you can check. Just type in the word Sidell Gateway Podcast, or some variation of those words. As long as you get Sidell and podcast and Gateway in there, it'll pull you to that page. That's Sidell. So I just want you to know I'm looking forward to this evening right now, sharing this time with you. This is a moment in your and my lives for me to just open up to whole new sets of possibilities right now, tonight. And I just invite you to, right this second, to open yourself to the idea that you, wherever you might be, you could be listening at home on the radio, you could be listening on Facebook. There's lots of different places you might be right now. But I want to invite you, just open yourself to stepping into a new world, a new possibility of life, something that's just much better and more joyous than you normally would recognize. Because you know what? That's the opportunity for each of us. And that's what this show is about tonight, completely. Are you and I going to open ourselves? Can we, living in a new way, right now, here in this world, that gives us greater freedom, greater joy, greater love than we ever thought was possible? That's my question for you. So I invite you right now just to relax wherever you are and just open yourself to the idea that amazing possibilities are always available to us, including right this second. And you know what? At this moment in time, we're going to take a step into greater joy, greater love, greater harmony than you might have ever known has existed. So before I go on any further, I want to go on right now and just do a little bit of a meditational relaxation exercise for a couple minutes. So whatever is going on in your life right now, I invite you just to let it go right now. Surrender to God. Quit carrying the burden of even your own life. That's what the show's about tonight, is the opportunity to surrender the burdens of your life and to become free in the present moment. If that sounds good to you, this is the right place where you should be listening tonight. So let's just take a deep breath right now. I'll put on a little bit of music too. Let's see here. Okay. I want you to take a deep breath right now. Just breathe in all the vitality and power of life, all the goodness of this existence. I want you to think of every positive thing that's ever happened in your whole life. Imagine it's all combined together right now in one moment. Every joyous, ecstatic moment you've ever known. Just feel it right now. Take a deep breath in right now as we speak. Just draw in the power of life and love and grace as we speak, as I speak. Now just let the air back out again. Just let it go. Whatever burdens you're carrying, whatever questions you're questioning about, whatever uncertainties you're facing, just let them go right now. And let's take another breath right now. Just take a deep breath in and feel it and be fulfilled by it and be filled in joy and peace and love and grace. Right now, at this moment, wherever you are in this moment of time, there's infinite love waiting for you. Right this moment, there's peace, there's harmony, there's an infinite eternal love that's greater than anything you could ever imagine. Wherever you are right this second, take a deep breath in with me. Just draw in the very power of life. You are alive in this magnificent creation. It just keeps unfolding from moment to moment, and new miracles, new possibilities every single day. Wherever you are, Whatever's happening in your life now, just let that air back out. Whatever stories you're carrying, whatever burdens you're carrying, be not afraid right now. Instead, just dare to trust and open yourself to infinite love, infinite joy, infinite peace. At this very moment, a deep breath. Take a deep breath in. Feel it from the depth of your lungs into every particle of your body. At this very, very moment, you are one with the infinite light and love of the eternal presence of God. Wherever you might be, wherever you are, dare to have that feeling right now. Right this second. Let's take another deep breath in. And then let it go. Whatever's happening in your life, do you have questions you're facing? Uncertainties? Decisions to make? Let them all go right now. Let them all be surrendered right now, in this present moment. Dare to know that you are an infinite, eternal being guided in this very, very moment. No matter what is happening in your life. Hey, Linda. Nice to see you. Whatever's happening in your life right now, I invite you just to surrender it. It's so easy to get caught up in the stories of our lives. Am I doing the right thing? Am I making the right choices? Am I growing in the right ways? 1,000 questions we can have. Tonight, this is all about finding a new path, a new way. That's something I've been working on for literally decades. I had a great revelation just literally in the last 2 or 3 days. It took me a whole other level of joy, peace, and harmony. And that's what I want to share with you tonight. What would your life be like? Let me rephrase that. What will it be like when you literally feel content and peaceful in your life as it is in the present moment, right now? How will you feel different when instead of questioning yourself all the time, you're feeling the joy and the peace and the fulfillment of joy and creation itself? Let's take another deep breath in. Bring it into the depth of your lungs and just let it out. As I say tonight, I want to share with you something that I've been literally working on one aspect or another for a minimum of 30 years, probably longer. And some of the pieces of the puzzle came together for me. And that's what I want to share with you tonight, so that you can find what you've been looking for. Some of you in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, some in your 60s or even 70s, some of you in your 80s. Whatever's going on in your life, it's not too late to find complete freedom right now. That sounds like a pretty tall order. That sounds like a big thing, and it is. But that's why I want to invite you to join with me in that step tonight, into a new world, a new reality. Let's take another deep breath in. Let's hold it in. You've got the gift of life in your body right now. Now, we're going to let it out. Every question you've had your entire life, every doubt, every concern, every worry, let it go for the time you can remember. Any doubt. And seriously, I want you to go deep inside yourself. You don't have to name anything or list anything. Just all the different things you think you should have done or maybe should not have done. There's two things, right? You could think you should have done something, or you could think you should not have done something. Either way, whatever they are, I challenge you right now just to let them go. Right now, into the infinity of God's presence. Right now. And discover that there's a freedom waiting for you right this second. Not tomorrow, not 10 minutes from now, not even 30 seconds from now. Right now. Dare to know yourself as a living expression of infinite freedom, infinite joy, infinite grace, Today I want to take a step together with you into a much deeper level of faith, power, and joy than you've ever known before. A much, much deeper step. Something that can really free you in the present moment right now, so you can begin to have the life you always dreamed of right now in the present moment. Take another breath in with me. Take it deep into your heart. Just feel the power of light and love surrounding you as we speak. Now, all your veins and your blood vessels, I think I heard it, if you took all the blood vessels in your body, they could put them end to end, they could reach around the entire earth. Sounds good anyway. Point is, there's a lot of them in there. Bring all that into you right now. Let them take oxygen and love and light to every element of your body. A new, healthier, more vibrant you awaits you right now. More vibrant, stronger, more beautiful than ever before. Just be willing tonight. You don't have to know how it's going to happen. But just take a step into the unknown and let the unknown turn into the known of joy, of love, of peace, of grace. Take one more breath. And just pull that energy into you now. Everything that you've been holding on to since you've been born, let it go right now. And this is the Gateway Show. When we come back, I'm going to share with you ways in which, for me, are allowing me to live in an entirely new way. And I want you to stay tuned, and I'll be with you right over the break as well. But for those of you on the radio, I'll be back in just a few minutes. This is Robert Sidell. This is the Gateway Show, broadcasting on the #1 talk station and also simulcasting on Facebook and also going out on YouTube after the show. Be back in a moment. This is Robert Sidell. So my friends that are listening right now, if you're like me, you probably unconsciously think, if you're listening to the show, there's a good chance, hey Ernie, nice to see you. There's a good chance that you hold yourself to a high standard, that you're trying to make it like Linda. I'm sure you hold yourself to a high standard. I think that, Ernie, I know you hold yourself to a high standard, but you're also good at relaxing, Ernie, and that's good. You probably are too, Linda. But here's what I want to say to you. It's so easy for us to always have this list, this never-ending list that is on our minds. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. Everything will finally be okay when, and you fill in the blank. Isn't that kind of how we think a lot of times? I'll finally arrive when, and then you fill in the blank. I'll finally feel happy when I have so much money in the bank, or when I have friends that I can really share things with, or when I feel real peace of mind. When, all these different whens that we put in our minds, all these blanks that we think we have to make, that we have to fill in before we're happy. We're going to be happy. So tonight, I want to invite you to let that when and that moment be now. All you have to do is be willing right now. We're going to take a step into that journey right now of letting the time you've always dreamed of be now, right now. Now, we've all heard that before. We've all heard it probably maybe 1,000 times. Now is the present, all these sorts of things. And they're good. They're good things. They're all legitimate. They're good. But how many of us really find that? How many of us really make that real? So tonight I want to share with you something that for me is making it more real than it's ever been before. Ever. In my whole life. Because most of us, our whole lives, the way we're engineered, we're fighting, we're struggling with life, aren't we? If you have any thoughts about that, you can put it down on Facebook. I'm curious. But we're struggling with life. We're trying to fight this battle, trying to make it all happen. And that battle can get tiring at times. Or the blank that you have to fill in can always be, you can fill in this blank today, and suddenly you've got that blank filled, and tomorrow you have a new blank you've got to fill in. And you're never quite there. You never really arrive. And so tonight I want to open ourselves to the idea that we can arrive right now. We can live from that place, not trying to get to it. We can live from now, from joy, from love. We can live coming from love, from peace, from grace, right now. And I want to share with you how that's working for me. Okay, we're coming back from the break. Good evening, my friends. This is Robert Sidell. It's a great pleasure to be with you here on this Sunday evening. I just I had a fun weekend. I went up with my family to Monterey. And I hadn't been there for probably 30 years or maybe even more, maybe even 50 years. I don't really like to think about it. And we went to a car show there, and it was just a fun, unstructured week, 2 or 3 days there. But you know what? Just a lot of things I've been focusing on and working on just kind of clicked into place. So I want to share them with you tonight in a way that can give you a chance to change the rest of your life in a wonderful, magnificent, glorious way. See, my friends, I guess I'll put on a little bit of music here. Keep it a little bit in the background here. Put a different one here. So, my friends, I want to say this to you. I know that we're all very similar this way. Oops, hold on 1 second here. Oops. I know that all of us are looking for, let's see here. Gotta do something here. I know that we're all looking for a kind of peace and a kind of joy and a kind of love. And we want to find that grace in life, and we're all we seek that. We want it. I mean, it's a hunger within our human soul. We want to feel happy. We want to feel the miracle of this life. I just was spent several days, I was saying, out of town, and my little I have a little grandson now, and he was there with us, and watching him and just kind of embracing life and starting to experience the miracle of existence. And you know what? And sometimes he's just kind of bursting out with ideas, and he's got to throw his arms up and starts, because he doesn't know how to express anything any other way, because he's just learning how to interact with this world. And so here's what I want to say to you. We have to keep doing that our whole life. We have to keep opening ourselves to new ways of living and new ways of experiencing this world. So tonight, what I want to share with you is, we've all heard it said 1,000 times. The present moments where we've got to find our happiness. And of course, the funny thing about it is, it has to be true because we never live in anything but the present moment. But if you're like me, what often happens is that you're still trying to figure things out, even in the present moment. You're trying to figure it all out, right? Are some of you like that? Anybody else like that? Or you think you got to sort it out for this, and I've got a family and a business, and I've got all these different things. And you have your stuff too. So those of you listening, you've got your stories. One person, it might be you want to find a relationship. Another person, you might want to find happiness in your relationship. Another person, you might want to figure out how to generate an income. Another person might want to figure out how to make that income balanced. And what really came to me in this last 2 or 3 days in a new way for me is that as long as we're struggling with life, we're not really in harmony with God's highest plan for our life. Doesn't mean you won't have to do things and get things done. I'm not trying to say that. But what I am saying is that if you could begin to discover that God's infinite intelligence is great enough for you and me, and you could really dare to trust your relationship to God, that God can lift you and form you and transform you into the being that you need to be, and you could take that burden off of your own shoulders. If you could really, it's a step, what I'm really saying is there's a step of faith that you could take right now. In fact, it'll have to be now, because there's no other time you'll ever be able to do it. And you could begin to just choose to trust that God really is great enough to get what needs to be done for you in your life, through you, as you've done. And on top of that, there's no other way you can do it. And all the efforting and struggling and worrying and anxieties that we can hold on to. And sure, lots of times I've had all sorts of different anxieties and worries. All those things, my friends, they're innocent, they're normal, but we don't have to hold on to them. So tonight I want to invite you just to be open yourself to the idea that right this second, there's an invitation for you. It may take a little bit of practice where you begin to merge yourself into the eternal presence of God's love for you. You just begin to let it flow over you and through you and for you and as you. And whatever different things you've been battling with, you release that battle to God. And you really do release it. You just let it go. So tonight I just want to invite you right now, just let it all go into God's infinite intelligence right now. Does that mean you suddenly become irresponsible or something? No, not at all. What it means simply is you're trusting that the infinite intelligence of God that really caused this entire cosmos to come into existence wants you to have freedom, love, and joy right now. And you're daring to know in your heart, mind, and soul that God's intelligence is great enough, as expressed through you right now, to lift those burdens off your shoulders. Last night, I was looking out over the bay in Monterey, and there's a place where all the sea lions show up. And some of you might have been there before. These sea lions, I mean, it's like they're having a party, I'll tell you what. There must have been 500 of them or more. And they're talking to each other and barking and making all kinds of noises. And this one was sitting right in front of my son and I. It was just like he was just looking at us, like he wanted to have a communication with us. It was funny. He wasn't making any noise. He just was looking at us. He'd turn his head one side, one direction, one another direction. But I thought to myself, this is the world we're in. It's just this miraculous world with all these things are happening around us all the time. Hey, Leroy, nice to see you. And he's saying hi to you, Ernie, also. So tonight I have an invitation for you. Dare to take that next step. Because if you don't take the next step now, when are you ever going to take it? Dare to trust that there's an infinite presence of love and grace and goodness right now, waiting for you as we speak at this precise second. And it sometimes takes some practice. A week ago, I started out by saying, imagine if you wake up in the morning, every morning, and say, just like a kid at Christmas time, you say something like this: God, what amazing things are going to happen to me today? What amazing things are going to happen to me today? What wonderful things are going to happen today? Expand it out this week if you want. What wonderful things are going to happen? What people am I going to meet? What new opportunities are going to happen? What new ideas for my health am I going to encounter? What new prosperity ideas am I going to encounter? Doesn't matter. What amazing things are going to happen today? So I've been saying that every morning since I've said those things on and off in my life for many years, but I like to keep up-leveling the story. So I've been saying that in the last week, and in this last week, it's just kept unfolding so miraculously for me. And so I want to invite you to take that step too. This is fun. Linda's saying, thank you for that important reminder. I had a wonderful past few days feeding goats in Cedar City on a farm, enjoying the beautiful animal world, so peaceful. So Linda, I want to say something to you about that. I just was at this beautiful place down by the ocean, and that's beautiful. And there was just to show you, I call it God's sense of humor. When I was in my 20s, I used to live a couple blocks from the ocean, and in Santa Monica. And I thought, I'm always going to live by the ocean. Well, as they say, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. But anyway, about 40 years ago, I had an opportunity to come over and work in the district attorney's office here. And then that led to me starting my own law practice here. And I've been here ever since. Now, it's been a great place for me to be. Luckily, I had loved the desert too. I loved the ocean and I loved the desert. I had both of those loves in my heart. But being at the ocean this week, I reminded myself, wow, that's something very beautiful too. And here's how this trust I'm talking about can change things. Do you ever wonder, well, what maybe I should be doing? Like, for example, Linda, you might be thinking, really, maybe I should be living up in that Cedar City farm. Or maybe I'd be thinking, well, maybe I should really be living at the beach or something like that. We could all have that kind of stuff going on in our minds, can't we? And so, maybe I should really change everything or change this or change that. And the faith I'm talking about is where you start to say, I don't have to figure that out at all. The infinite intelligence of God is with me. When I'm supposed to be by that beach, I will be. When you're supposed to be, Linda, when you're supposed to be up in that farm in Cedar City, you will be. If you're supposed to have a goat here, by the way, my wife always had dreams of having a goat too, but it's unrelated, but this is a true story. So the point I'm getting at is that for each of us, we have the countless things that we could be doing. This world's got so much happening in it, doesn't it? So much happening. And we could go crazy thinking, well, I really should be there. I should be there with here, or this person should be my friend, or whatever it might be. What if you finally said, I don't have to figure it out. God has a plan for me, and I can actually trust that unfoldment of that plan in the present moment. I don't have to constantly battle with life. I don't have to constantly battle with everything. I can choose to unfold in divine grace, as divine grace. Does that sound good to you? Can you get a little feel for that? I can begin to unfold myself in and through and as divine grace. Without understanding it, without figuring it out, I can implicitly trust. It could be any area of life. It's so easy to be battling in our minds all the time. We have an election coming up in our country for president in a couple months. And it's very easy to get caught up, well, should he win or should she win? Or what's going to happen if she wins? Or what's going to happen if he wins? Or any other thing like that. What if instead of doing that, you just thought, no, I don't have to figure that out. That's not my problem. That's not my story. My story is God's grace. And what if you could begin to get over that need to battle with everything and every story? I'm not saying you don't have feelings or shouldn't have feelings and make your decision. I'm not saying anything about that. What I'm saying is, instead of carrying these things as burdens in your soul, imagine if you instead trusted in the unfoldment of perfection in your life. So I'm going to go to a break right now. This is Robert Sidell, it's the Gateway Show, and that's what I'm talking about. For those of you, stay with me on the break and on the radio, how to let perfection be our natural state of being. I've met great people that have taught me this, and now it's my turn to play that story too, and yours too if you choose it. This is Robert Sidell. I'll be back in just a moment. Stay tuned. So my friends, you've been given a beautiful logical mind, and it's so easy to run your mind. If you have a good logical mind, you can always ask all these questions. Yeah, but what if this? Let's say it's politics. Well, what if he wins? Or what if she wins? Or it could be anything. Anything at all. You can come up with any number of questions all the time. And if you go on social media, you'll see every question there to be thought about. But what if you said, yeah, and everything's okay now? I'm in the living perfection of God's grace right now. And it's God's good pleasure to live through me, for me, as me. How would you start to experience your life if you started to trust that? Think about that. How would your life be changed if you could begin to trust and be and know that infinite love and infinite light can come through you, for you, and as you? And you're not going to miss out on a single thing. Everything that is infinitely right for you will come forth in its infinitely perfect time. Think about that. What would that feel like to you? Everything that is infinitely right for you will come forth for you at the infinitely right moment in your life. I'm really talking about a whole new way of living. It's a way of, it's very contrary to our logical mind. The logical mind is always saying yes, but, yes, but, yes, but. And what I'm saying is that whatever God is in the most eternal sense is a million times beyond what you could imagine. And I'm inviting you to take that step. Now, for me personally, I've said it many times, I accept the grace of Jesus Christ, but I think you'll know that he said these very same things for those of you who studied him. So what can it feel like for you to begin to trust that what should unfold will unfold. And that it's not your job to figure it all out. It's not your job to figure it all out. Think about that. How could you be different? How could you, what can your life be like if you weren't always worrying about how everything's going to turn out? What could you become if you stepped into a reality in which the living intelligence of God's divine love was with you, for you, and as you all the time? What would that look like to you? What would your life turn into? What would you be like? Okay, I think we're about to go back. Yeah, we'll be back on the air. Back on the radio. Good evening, my friends. It's a great pleasure to be with you on this Sunday evening on the Gateway Show on live every Sunday evening from 6 to 7 p.m. It's a wonderful pleasure to be here with you. It's a great honor and a privilege. And I'm sharing tonight about, for me, what's another step for me to take, and I'm inviting you to take it in your life in your own way, showing up in your own life the right way for you. It comes down to this very simple thing. Most of our lives, if we're not careful, this life can be turned into kind of a fatiguing, wearing down experience. I'm sure some of you know what I'm talking about. I'm sure I've experienced that many, many times in my life. And it can be like this no matter what you accomplish. There's still more things to be done. And so it's kind of like, am I ever going to be free? Am I ever going to know joy? Real, lasting, and abiding joy? So what I'm saying tonight is, yes, there is a way to know real, abiding, and lasting joy. And that moment is right now. It really comes down to, I wrote down a couple things. I want to make sure I get it right. It comes down to having the courage to know that there's an infinitely greater reality waiting for you right now. Infinitely greater reality. And that we've been challenged by Jesus and many other great teachers also to take a step into that infinite reality. To be able to trust that God knows what's right for us and has the ability to guide us into a magical, wonderful, divinely perfect future for ourselves. So my question for you tonight is, it really comes down to this. Are you willing to put that much faith in God? And that faith takes courage. Because our rational brain says, well, wait a minute, I need proof. Look at this has happened in my life. Look at that's happened in my life. And so it stops us from really surrendering. It stops us from really opening up to the infinite perfection of reality. So let's see, I want to say something here. So the idea of what I'm talking about is it brings you into alignment with God's grace. Alignment. So by saying yes to God and saying, I want this God more than anything else alive, that's the kind of courage it takes. It's been said that to have the freedom I'm talking about is to seek God as much as a drowning man seeks to have air. Now, if you think about it, if somebody's stuck underwater and they're trying to get up to get that air, how much do they want that? They want that deeply? Well, that's the kind of depth you and I need. Just to decide. You know, and here's the funny thing that hit me today. It isn't actually difficult to have faith in God. It's actually extremely easy. There's only one minor catch. It does take courage. Because the logical, rational brain that we have, that the rational, logical mind that we have, always has lots of doubts. It says, yeah, well, I would have trust in God except that. But I have this to deal with and that to deal with. Now, what I want to say to you is that nothing I'm saying tonight indicates you shouldn't do excellent work and do whatever you're doing well and to the best of your ability. All that's there. But what would make you think that wouldn't be the case if you're truly surrendered to God's grace and love? Because if you're truly surrendered, you're going to be more tuned in, more focused, more tuned into the possibilities of your own life. See, there's every single moment we have so many different choices and questions and uncertainties. Should I do this? Should I do that? Where should I go from here? Where should I go from there? And what if you realize you don't have to carry those burdens? What if you realize there's another way to live right now? And that's the invitation of tonight, right this second. And it's, you might keep this thought in your mind. Absolute freedom requires absolute faith. But the funny thing about absolute faith is it's not difficult. It's not like you have to effort at it. It's not something you have to effort at. But it does take courage, because your logical, rational mind may really question constantly. Well, what about this? What about that? And what you want to do, one of my teachers explained it to me like this: speak to your unconscious mind, your rational mind, and say, I know that it's scary to you, but I want you to know, for me, my decision is to trust God, because my path is to walk in this world as an illumined being in God's grace. And just sort of, those are big words, and you don't have to say it like that. But however you want to say it, communicate to your inner self. One teacher I had said, think of your unconscious mind, give it a name, whatever your first two names are, and just not your last name, your first two, and just say. Then when you're talking to yourself, say, I'll just say right now, Robert, because I did my middle name. It's time for you to learn how to live in peace and joy right now. And just forgive yourself for all the times you haven't. And let go of all the mistakes you think you've made tonight, right now. And dare to step into that ocean of infinite love that's waiting for you right now. Do you know what your future holds? No, none of us do. None of us do. And we never have. Like I said, when I was young, I thought I was going to live by the ocean all my life. Instead, I've been in the desert. Now I've been in a pretty rural place in the desert for a long, long time. And you know, it's been great for me. It's been a great, great place. I met my wife and get kids and a family, and it's been a great, wonderful place for me to be. So where you are tonight, I just want to say a prayer right now. I'm guided to say this prayer. May God's infinite love lift you up into a new dimension of grace. Something greater than you've ever known, ever. Yes, and Leroy's saying, thank you, I needed to forgive myself. We all do. By the way, there's a healing, something I've mentioned many times, called the Hawaiian healing prayer. And it goes something like this. Think if there's somebody out there you feel like you may have offended or hurt, or maybe whatever, on even the most small level, you could say, I'll just make up a name. Sally, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. Sally, please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. So I change over the music. I like that music. So, okay, that's something I do. If somebody pops into my head that I feel there's a little bit of conflict, maybe somewhere deep in my unconscious mind, I say that. I may not have even seen the person for 20 or 30 or even 40 years, but it may be hanging there in my unconscious mind. It pops into my mind. Sally, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. But here's how I want to suggest something new to you. This came to me literally in the last week. Whatever you want to call your unconscious mind, just say, I'm going to say, Robert, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. Say that to yourself. Because the person you almost undoubtedly have been the hardest on is you. The person you think has made mistakes and you've been angry at is you. So Robert, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. Talking to myself. And like I say, you can add your middle name into that. It's a great tool. Because if you really want to find the magical source of power in yourself, is that it's your own relationship to you. See, we don't really see it that way. We don't get it. We think it's out there, like Linda. You know, I might say, Linda, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. But that's one thing to do. But what about saying to myself, Robert, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. Because for every judgment you've placed against somebody else, you've probably placed a judgment against yourself too. So you need to start unlocking your unconscious self. You need to start unlocking your anger, unconscious anger towards you, because that can be the source of self-illness, self-deprivation, financial problems, and everything. due to unconscious stored anger that you don't even realize is there. So start saying the Hawaiian healing prayer to you. Try to do it 20 or 30 times a day to yourself, whenever it's peaceful and comfortable. You don't have to be obsessive about it, but I think if we discovered that's the real leverage point, is your relationship to you. Not the image you present to others. But any of us can look back in our lives and say, I should have done this, I should have done that. Or maybe you think, most of us kind of think we're supposed to be perfect all the time, but we're really not. So I want to come back to that right now. Coming back to a simple message I want to say to you tonight. The day for you to say you're okay in God and everything's okay is right now. And you might say, well, I don't know if I really believe that, and that's okay too. But surrender all those doubts and fears and uncertainties to God. I surrender everything in my mind to God every day. So I say things like this all the time. God, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. Today I feel some anxiety, I feel this, I feel that. Today I'm not sure what I want to do, I'm not sure where I'm supposed to go. I confess that to you also. Just let it drain out of you. And come back and realize you're okay right now. So my invitation to you, if you're listening tonight, is don't keep putting off your freedom to another day, another time. Let this be the moment. And later on, when you wake up tomorrow morning, let this be the moment. And tonight when the show's over, let this be the moment that you decided to step into the eternal, infinite realm of divine perfection and gave up separating yourself from that. Gave up the need to separate yourself from that. Let this be that moment. And let that be repeated over and over again, effortlessly and in perfect timing. This is Robert Sidell. We can go to a break again. I'll stay with you on Facebook. Back in just a moment. So my friends, I just want to say to you, what I'm talking about is something really quite foreign to our normal mind. It's quite foreign because we're used to questioning everything, right, Linda? And that good feeling you had when you were with those goats up there, up in Utah, that's God's perfection in your life. But that perfection can continue on right now, in the present moment. And that's what we want for you and for each of us. I just really, all of you that are listening or listening to this recording later on, I just want you to know, it's even for me, saying this to you out loud is a little scary to me. But it's like, what's the alternative? I'm either going to have enough courage to step into the realm of freedom or forever deprive it of myself. And my choice is, take that step. And what about you? Are you ready to take that step of absolute faith? Hey, Ernie. Hey, Janet.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, hold on a second here.
Hi, Janet. Hi, Robert.
Okay, I can see you both. That's good.
Yay!
I know, exactly. Yeah, I've been sharing that really what we're all truly seeking is the freedom that only our relationship to God can give us. At least to me, that's what it's like. And it's up to us to step into that place. Hey, Leroy saying hi to both of you.
Hello, Leroy. Yeah. He's saying hello to you also. So he can hear us.
Hold on one second here.
I guess he can.
Yes, he can hear us. I think he can. Leroy, can you hear Janet and Ernie?
Yes, I can hear you both. Yes.
You can hear me. I was just wondering if Leroy can hear
No,
us
he's
too.
asking
The listener, I'm
Leroy.
pretty sure they can.
Okay.
I'm pretty positive.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I think we're about to go back on the air. Here we go. He says he can hear you, by the way.
Okay.
Good evening. This is Robert Sidell. I just want you to know it's a great pleasure to be with you here on the Gateway Show here tonight. And it's been fun for me to share what really for me is another step forward in my life and my spiritual journey. And I think that there's nothing more exciting than growing in our relationship to the infinite creator of existence, because it's in that relationship that we find our freedom. You know, as we get older, we discover our bodies aren't going to last forever. I mean, hopefully they'll last a while, right? But the point is, we can't plan our future. We have to find eternality in our own souls, the connection to the infinite, and even in this life itself. While we're blessed to have a body, I mean, we can't figure everything out. You don't know whether you should turn right or turn left on a street, and sometimes you turn right and your life was saved, right, Janet? We've talked about that before. We've all had stories like that, and the same with you, Ernie, I'm sure. And so it's that surrender to the infinite intelligence. And what I was sharing earlier on the show is that it's kind of scary to the logical, rational mind to really place that kind of faith. But what's the alternative? To live in a fearful, anxious world, or to have freedom? So that's what I'm working on myself. So, all right. Well, I just want you to know it's wonderful. It's always nice to see both of you here. It's a gift to my life. So, Reverend Ernie, what do you have to share with us tonight?
All right, thank you, Robert. The topic of the prayer is step into a new reality. Dear Lord, thank you for giving us this blessed day. We pray for each one of us to open ourselves to a new reality, the good that is love, joy, compassion, and prosperity. Guide us to share and serve those God-given attributes to those that need our support unconditionally. Lord, assist us to be in awareness and recognition by listening to our inner voice answers to witness God's messages in all walks of our lives. Through faith, we are healed. We pray that we spread our jubilant new reality in our everyday living with our loved ones, communities, and around the world, creating heaven on earth. And so it is. Amen.
You know, Ernie, writing that down. I like that. Did you hear that, Janet? Jubilant new reality. I like that, Ernie. You're
Thank
getting
you.
more. You're getting more eloquent by the moment. We got to have fun, you know. And by the way, I'm totally convinced. There's so much I want to share about. For me, what's a new step and everything. It's being on the divine path is the most fun path. It's not about. It's not serious. It's play. It's divine play, really. But having said that, before I don't want to run out of time, so Janet, share something with us. Then maybe we'll hopefully have time to keep talking.
Yeah. So, well, first of all, I just want to say this. When you were talking about, waiting for this happen, that to happen, and then you'll be happier, or then that'll mean everything is okay, right? Remember
Right.
when you were talking?
Right. Yeah.
And I literally used to do that. I used to think that way before I got on my spiritual path. So I just wanted to say that. And now I'm reading some from Daily Word. It's not really for today's date, but it fits totally how I feel now, and that you just used the word divine. So this is divine life flows through me. Sometimes when life seems filled with obligations and routine, I may feel as though I am merely existing, moving from one task to another without any sparkle or energy. Today, I remind myself I am alive, vitally, radiantly, joyfully alive. My life is what I choose to make it. Through my positive attitude and understanding myself as a spiritual being, I realize there is so much more to life than the things I must attend to, or where I think I'm supposed to be in life, basically. I will continue to maintain my daily life and respond to the things that need my attention. But now I will meet life with the energy and verve of divine life, which is flowing through me and animating me no matter what I'm doing. I affirm I am a divine being, wondrously and magnificently alive. Amen. And then from Luke, now he is a God not of the dead, but of the living, for to him all of them are alive.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. Oh, and Leroy says, "Amen." Um,
Amen. That's right.
you know, this life is such a gift. It's such an extraordinary gift, and sometimes it's so easy to get caught up in so many stories, and then begin to miss out on the magic and wonder of right now. A simple pleasure of having a nice meal. You know, um, I had a bowl of clam chowder yesterday. It was just a simple motion by the ocean of having a simple bowl of clam chowder, but it's just a beautiful experience. And that's what we. It's like getting back into touch with that, so we can just feel the essence and magic and wonder of it all. So, um, well, you know what, and that's what I'm really working on is I'm working on letting go into the infinite realm and not having to try to understand it as much and not understand exactly where or how it's all going to unfold and just trust that unfoldment. And I think you both do that. You do that quite a bit, don't you think, Janet?
Oh yeah. Today, I just came in the door. I was listening to the radio, what you were saying on the way home, but I went to go to two weddings today at 10:30 at Circus, and I left, and as soon as I left, like 15, 20 minutes later, they called me back and two more couples came in. And it's like just knowing you're at the right place at the right time all the time, no matter what's happening.
See, that's it. And you just hit the nail on the head. And that's, our logical brain's not used to that, but we can begin to train it, which I think you have, and you have too, Ernie. But it's like you begin to trust that the Spirit of God goes before you, preparing the way. And by the way, I like to say jokingly, cleaning up what's behind us also. Sometimes we need both
Cleaning
things.
up what's behind you.
In other words, goes before us, preparing the way, and cleaning up things behind us sometimes too.
I guess.
Well,
I don't know.
I listen. I hope that isn't a problem. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just kind of teasing you a little bit. But the bottom line is, well, we're just about out of time here. You know what? Both of you, I'm really let's go into this week saying this, waking up each morning. What amazing miracles are going to happen today, God? How can I be your instrument today wherever I go? And just be infused with that infinite love and see what happens. Let's dare it. You guys willing to do that this week?
Sure, I am.
um, so listen, I just want you to know that you both make a huge difference. Everybody listening to you gets a great deal out of it. They always make all sorts of comments. Leroy always says all sorts of nice things about both of you, and everybody listening, I know, and people hear the recording later on. So I pray that God watch over both of you. Watch over your students, Ernie. So
Thank you.
You're back in school now, right?
Oh, yes, since last week, yes.
How's that going?
But it was pretty good, very good. Just practice. What we are discussing here today. Yeah,
And that's what you practice. It is a practice, isn't it?
yeah, right.
It's like an art
right.
form, isn't it? It's
That's
an art
right.
form. Oh, I think the music's playing. I think we're out of time. Listen, my dear friends, may God bless you and watch over both of you now and throughout eternity, and whoever else happens to hear this recording or anybody else anywhere anyway. May God's infinite love be on this planet, Earth, and all of us. And so it is. Amen.
Amen.
Bye. Amen.
Bye.
Take care of yourselves.
Have a
And,
great week, you two.
Oh,
Bye.
Bye, Janet.
Fran
Bye,
is
Robert.
saying, all right. God bless you guys. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.